Welcome to the Business Legends Podcast, where we interview business leaders and entrepreneurs so that you can learn from their successes, become inspired, and meet the people that make change happen. I'm the host of the show, Reese Arnold, along with my co-host, After Christmas, Christian Webb. Say hello.
Hello, hello. By the way, this is not a Star Wars show.
What?
The Republic.
The Republic. This is unfortunately not a Star Wars show. However, we are accompanied by my very good friend, Jason Pickett, with Republic Refrigeration. Jason, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. You guys?
Oh man, well, I've shared some Christmas stories off camera, and let's not get into that. But sometimes it's just a white trash nightmare where I come from. That's
Merry Christmas to all.
That's exactly right. So Republic Refrigeration, for our listeners, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So we are pretty much a niche contractor, a subcontractor, specializing in refrigeration of large business, large structures, if you will, commercial, industrial, a lot of food processing, food distribution.
Okay. And what is your role within the company?
So I'm the corporate safety director.
Okay.
So I travel a lot since we are a national company. About a little over 500 people, about 525 right now, and could use about 100 more right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
But there's only one of me at the present, so it's pretty busy.
Wow, I could imagine. So now, do they have you basically going out to all the different jobs and just kind of inspecting all the different pieces?
Yeah, so I do job site inspections when I'm there. Obviously, answer any questions, problems that they have, assist them in any way I can. I do all the workers' comp for the company, all the safety training. We were just shy of 1 million man hours last year. So,
wow.
Hopefully this year we'll push over the edge of that. I'm kind of hoping for that because I've never been a part of a company that's worked 1 million man hours.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And we also drive between 3 and 4 million miles a year.
Wow,
our guys do. So have a lot of exposure out there as far as safety goes. So I'm always busy.
Yeah, no kidding. It's amazing. One of the things I love about this show is that obviously we've known each other for probably 2 years now, but I really like to hear about the scale of things because you would just never know unless you get into an environment like this. You know?
Absolutely.
Now working, nationwide, you said you were just in Denver looking at different things. How did you get involved with safety? Was it just something that you always kind of wanted to do, or you just always dotting your T's and crossing your I's and looking both ways before you cross the street, or what's the?
Well, I kind of fell into it.
Okay.
25-ish years ago, 24, 25 years
when
ago.
OSHA was founded.
That's right. We were talking about how old I was.
Yeah.
So. But I was
fetus.
doing some assistant project managing, and at that time for an electrical contractor in Maryland, and much on a smaller scale, but still commercial, industrial work. And the corporate director said, "Hey, I need somebody for the office that you work out of. Would you be interested?" And I was, of course, then all your insecurities pop up is, well, I don't know anything about safety, and you want to do a good job, and would I be that right person? And I said, I don't know, Rod. What do you think? And he said, well, you've got the personality to do this job, and I can't teach somebody that. I can teach you what you need to know about safety. So I talked to my wife about it, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And 25 years later, that guy is still a mentor of mine and a great friend, and it's been an amazing, amazing career.
Wow. I was wondering about, there's only so much you can learn in a textbook with regards to especially safety and things like that, and every job has a bit of uniqueness to it. How do you go about tackling that type of challenge? So obviously every job site you get to looks different, some way, some shape, somehow. Do you just kind of check the boxes and check for things and then kind of go through your own way, or what's your process for that?
Well, there are the boxes that you look at to check, and then each general contractor you work with has their own set of boxes that they want checked. Some are more of like, here's the job, we need it done, you guys go do it. And other ones, they want every I dotted, every T crossed, and paperwork for everything. So you kind of have to do your own thing as far as your what your company requires, and then you also have to fit into what the GC wants as well. One big thing that I've noticed over the 20 years is, it used to be, all right, guys, just get the job done and be safe. Don't get hurt. And that was pretty much it. And then, especially probably 10 years ago and even more now, general contractors and business owners are pre-qualifying their people. So much of what I do now is administrative before even contracts are signed or before anybody steps foot on the job. So it's a lot of getting those ducks in a row before anybody even gets there.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's almost like paint work. Like you do a lot of prep before you.
We
get
know a
involved.
good pre-qualifier.
Absolutely.
ABC. He was on the board for a while.
Scott, Mayor.
He owns a custom home company, and he also owns a company that does it tests people.
Oh, Josh Mooney. Josh Mooney.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome guy. Gosh, what's the name of his company?
Yeah, it was blanking on me.
Put me on the spot here.
It's like a keyword, maybe?
Oh, Paragon.
Paragon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Woo, wow, that took a while. Yeah. So what he does, but the company that he does it for is not in construction; it's in healthcare. So
gotcha.
they do pre-qualifications for like nursing and things.
But they have a whole building where, like exactly what you said, they'll give them like bags and stuff to carry upstairs. They'll give them like different things they have to do to make sure they're not going to get hurt doing very simple tasks.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's very smart.
Yeah.
And it's all about limiting your risk.
Sure.
And even as the general contractor, they want to make sure their subs are good quality and good safety oriented people because it limits their risk as well.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like we were talking about before the show, I think most people want to do a good job, period.
Absolutely.
And nobody wants to get hurt or to get other people hurt. So, one of the things that I was curious about your position particularly is, a lot of times when a safety inspector comes in or whatever, people are like, oh God, safety inspector's here. It's gonna cost us a day of work or whatever while they're checking our work. But nowadays I bet it's not really even like that so much anymore. Or what's been your experience with it?
Well, there are different kinds of people as far as safety goes. You've got the people who have, right out of college, very smart, but don't have a construction background that are very much by the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was very fortunate, started construction at an early age, kind of worked through the trade. And so I've been on that side of the fence too, if you will.
Sure.
So I can relate to what they're going through. I know that everything isn't in black and white.
Yeah.
A lot of times in construction, we live in gray.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're in that gray area, what can we do to still make sure, everybody's going to go home tonight?
Yeah.
So I work more with the people as opposed. So, and when I show up on jobs, I still, hear on the radios, hey, Jason's here, make sure everything's,
Put your gloves on. Put your gloves on.
exactly.
Right.
Everybody get your glasses. But they know that I'm there to work with them. Yeah. And I prove that to them all the time is I'm here as an asset for you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help you to be able to get your job done. And,
Yeah.
I've been down in the ditches with them, putting up trenching and shoring and, just working with them, getting dirty. And I think you really gain a lot of respect from the people when they realize that you're there to help
So,
them.
do they make you a part of the planning on the safety side at all? Like, for example, let's say you have a big trench job and they're like, what do we do to be absolutely safe here? Or let's say you're dropping in a huge refrigerated unit that takes multiple cranes and they want to know exactly how not to flip those cranes over and onto each other. Are you like a part of that process, or is that something else? Like, how's that work?
Well, our PMs are so good, and they've been doing this for so long. But I do still get involved with some unique things. Buildings nowadays, it seems like they just keep getting taller and taller and taller. So recently, we purchased some equipment. It's kind of a material hoist because the buildings have gotten so big where we can't get a lift up to them anymore. So through that, we had to work together and work with engineers to make sure, until we get that part down to a science. But I am involved with some of that, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess after 180 feet, you can't get a boom lift to them, and a boom lift can't hold any weight anyway.
Well, especially at that height, yeah. But it used to be at 100 feet, it was like, oh my gosh, this building is massive. And now it seems like everything's beyond that. It's 120, and it's...
And you would need a forklift to reach it, right?
And bigger and bigger and bigger, that's for sure.
You would need a forklift to reach it, not a boom lift, right? You'd actually...
Well, it's like a telescoping forklift, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't go that high.
You know, it's,
and they could for one to be able to reach 100 feet. It's so expensive.
Sure.
Where and that's what we looked at. Did cost comparisons of if we buy this hoist equipment, it's the same as like 3 months worth of rental of a big lift. So it's going to pay for itself in no time at all.
I know that world very well. I used to work in
Yeah,
United Rentals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For several years actually. So I know those prices very well.
We're dealing with United all the time.
Yep.
Jason's like, we'll just leave it at that.
There's some,
no,
some
no.
decent people there.
Yeah.
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 Great people. Yeah.
There are.
But we work with them. They're probably our largest company that we work with, and Sunbelt obviously is a big one.
Work
that
for
we
them
work
too.
With as well. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That was my second run at it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about systems and management, because here you are, you're going from job to job, but you're one person, and so there's no way you could do everything. What types of things do you do or ensure are in place before, let's say, you fly out to Denver to check, or excuse me, Aurora to check out a job or whatever else? Like, what types of things do you do and say in order to make everyone's job a little easier?
Well, a lot of that depends on the job and the
Sure.
GC that we talked about. And we've got superintendents that run nothing but very large projects. Other superintendents run medium-sized projects. Some run just small projects. And we have multiple divisions within the company as well. So I'll look at who's there, and I may know some of the needs that they have by talking to them. Sometimes I'll reach out and say, hey, I'm coming out next Tuesday. Is there anything you guys need? We could do some training while I'm there, forklift training or boom lift training, whatever. Or just anything. Are there any other resources that you guys need? Sometimes it's just oh my gosh, Jason, you're here. I didn't know you were coming.
Yeah.
So it's because I want to see the job site for how it truly is. But it's there again. It goes back there. Just I look at all those boxes and I want to make sure they're all checked. I do the random drug testing program as well, so I'll look at the employees that are on that site, see if they're on that month's list, and while I'm going out there, do it as well. Some of our larger projects, it's really cool. We've got some husband-wife teams.
Oh, interesting.
And the husband is the superintendent, and the wife is just like at home, is really the one that runs everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank goodness for those ladies. They're fabulous, and they make my job so much easier. But they do a lot of the safety stuff on those big jobs, the daily paperwork, the toolbox talks, the job hazard analysis, all that. And they're really an administrative help to their husband as well. So I'll talk to them and see if they need anything before I come out.
Yeah.
So it's like actual husband and wife, or is that is that what we call it?
No, it is an actual.
Oh, okay,
yes,
okay.
an
That's
actual
neat.
husband.
So literally, like they're working together every day.
So it is the work wife, but it is the real wife.
My wife would kill me.
Yes, she would. Yep.
That takes a special couple.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean you're literally
pretty unique,
together
actually.
24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never in the construction industry. Well, I mean, I guess Karen and G-Man kind of do that a little bit.
True.
But I mean, I've never heard of managing, because they do wildly different roles within Catalyst,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've never heard of a husband and wife in the construction industry that are like working the same job together.
Yeah.
Like that's wow. How did that come about? Was that before your time that you had these people come in, or
It was.
Yeah.
I think, and I know one in particular. The wife, the husband was on the road, and the wife, stayed home, raised the kids, and then when the kids left, she was like, "Well, I want to go with you." And it was, well, if you're going to go with me, I could use your help.
Yeah.
And
Might as well earn some moolah.
Extra income, and it just got to be where, I mean, they are such an asset to their husband, and like I said, they are godsends to me because they do so much, and they're generally on larger projects.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's a huge asset.
And
to the
superintendents can pretty much name whatever they want right now.
Well, that's the business we're
Like
in.
I'll take a
Yeah.
camper, an extra 40 grand, and you're gonna pay my wife,
Yeah.
Right.
or
I
I'm
mean,
gonna walk.
Yeah, it's the world we're in, I suppose. But
Yeah,
know.
you can't find them anywhere right now. And if you do find them, they're wanting $80,000 to $140,000 for medium-sized projects and
You
no
know,
experience.
especially
Way
in the
more, way more.
niche.
Well,
Yeah.
for medium-sized projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for your niche, because you have to have refrigeration experience. And
Yeah. And a lot, we are so blessed at Republic to, I mean, we have people who've been there almost as long as the doors have been open. And
Wow,
we were talking
40 years.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. This year was our 40th anniversary. So,
Wow.
I mean, it's nothing to have 20, 25, 30 years of tenure.
You almost
for
have
some
some
of these
great
guys.
culture.
We do. We really do. Yeah. And it is truly we just talked about literally a family. But each superintendent hires their own crews.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're traveling from job to job to job together, their campers are in the same campgrounds. So literally they're a family. They're eating dinner together in the evenings, some evenings, having a campfire and all joining around. And
I've had people tell me about
So
this. It's pretty.
it's a really neat thing. I mean, it's not for me, but it's a pretty cool
I would not
thing.
be an asset on a job site.
Hey, stick to what you're good at, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the way that it is.
I get too cold. I get too hot. I get too tired. I get too hungry. I get impatient.
I can attest.
Is that
to
a
all
good
these
interview?
things.
Is that good interview?
He's
questions?
basically an ideal employee.
Would you
That's-
hire me if I interviewed with those answers?
That's probably not. Probably not. What was I gonna ask?
I'm a
Something
team
about
player,
family.
very honest.
What's the best interview question? It's like, oh yeah, my flaw is that I care too much about attention to
too much.
detail.
That's
Yeah,
right,
like
that's
that's
right.
I've actually had somebody answer that way, and I almost puked. I was like, we'll call you. I don't know. I can't get over cheesy stuff like that. You mentioned that sometimes you're showing up on a job site, and obviously you hear, Jason's here, and stuff like that. Do you find more value in showing up unannounced, or kind of planning ahead, or just depends on the job type of thing?
I can see it both ways.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are times when I really want to see it for what it truly is.
Sure.
But I have superintendents that are that way too. Is they may know I'm coming, but they won't tell their crew because they want me to see it how it is, and they truly want me to give them that feedback of what can I do to have a better crew, to have a better job site. And there again, it goes back to culture. But they just want to do a good job, and because they know their name is attached to that.
Right.
And one thing that's really
Workers'
cool
pride.
is, one thing that's so cool is when we get a new job with a returning customer or a returning general contractor, and they request, hey, I want Reese Arlen to be our superintendent because he just knocked it out of the ballpark the last job he did.
Yeah.
And that
That's
is
the best.
so cool. Yeah.
That's when you know. That's when you know you
I'm
got
a little
good
surprised
quality.
machine learning hasn't taken over safety yet. Like not like the ground level of it, but like the everyday like speed and ticket level of it. Like because you could have a camera in the top right. I know this can be done because I've seen it done on other stuff. If you had a camera in the top right of your job site that overlooked each corner, and every time somebody walked in and out of a door or through a window or whatever, it was scanning the people, and it could see gloves, glasses, and helmet, or whatever.
There are some
okay.
GCs that have that.
Oh, are
and they're
they?
even using drones a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say
'cause-
'cause that would like
Drones for
make sure
safety?
nobody.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, that would be
Kind
Yeah,
of
no,
combo. They'll do progress photos.
that would freak me out if I was on a job site.
Safety attack.
You just have like
They're talking about Big Brother.
yeah. That would I don't know.
I bet it would.
Yeah.
I bet it would really limit people not wearing their safety gear on a job site.
Yeah. Is that? Do you find that that's a big problem on job sites? People not wearing safety gear, or is it like
Just
other
look
stuff?
at a job site, bro. Like just drive by it.
There again, it's culture, I think.
Sure.
You really see that with some. I know the residential contractors have kind of a bad rap for that.
Sure.
And I think a lot of that is because it's piecework, so they just want to
Sure.
get in real fast, knock the work out, and go to the next one because that's how they're getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
When our guys know that they're going to be there, it could be 8, 12, 16 months.
Oh wow.
So I mean, and they get a good working relationship with the general contractor or with that building owner, and they want to do a good job and have a good reputation to follow. And I think nobody wants to get hurt.
Yeah.
And some people are like, these gloves are really a pain in the butt, and I get that. It's 100 degrees out and you're working on the roof and it's hot.
Yeah.
But you know, it's unfortunately then when somebody gets hurt, it's like, oh, I should have had my gloves on.
Or you got a painter in the hallway with nothing unsafe around him at all, wearing a helmet and a flak jack, and he's like, why am I dressed like this right now? I'm literally painting a wall.
Yeah, well,
give me a mask.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I need right now.
Yeah.
And then, so you have people with rebellious.
Sure.
But then they have something fall through the ceiling from the floor.
Yeah.
They're like, man, that'd have been nice to have him.
One of my best friends from high school, he inspects energy facilities, so coal burning reactors and even nuclear reactors and things like that. And he was in a tube, basically where like the reaction takes place because they're inspecting it, type of thing. And while he was in the tube, from above, a wrench fell right in front of him, and it fell through like the reactor, caused millions of dollars in damage.
Oh my
But
goodness.
he said if that would have hit him on the head, it would have killed him. Like, and it was this far away, like right in front of him. He was like,
It's been a big old wrench.
yeah, it was Nick DeShane, and he was like, that was not cool.
Yeah. Well, and
He's like, I will always wear my helmet, always, is what he said after that. Like,
Well, and there again, going back to culture and truck drivers, you know, they always show up on a job site, and I shouldn't say always. Some of them, you know, they're tennis shoes, and shorts, and their ball cap because they just drove, you know, who knows how many hundreds
40
of
hours,
miles.
yeah.
And but up in New York, they had a truck driver get out, and he was starting to undo his load, and somebody dropped a tape measure. And you talk about all the stars aligning. The way it bounced, it hit him in the temple and killed him.
What?
Yes.
A tape measure.
I mean, they're heavy metal.
Yeah.
I mean, the big ones are metal.
But it
it's-
bounced off the ground and hit him in the head.
Yeah, and killed him.
Wow.
Do you know what the number one item that's dropped on a construction site is nowadays?
Let me think about it for a second before you.
So we mentioned wrench,
Yeah.
and we mentioned a tape measure.
And well, let's think about the common things, the common construction materials, because you have a hammer, screwdriver, tape measure. What do you think?
Is it compact equipment, or is it a handheld, like a manual tool?
It's handheld.
Okay, so I'd say hammer.
I would say hammer.
Cell phone.
A cell phone. Oh
no.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that creates safety issues and stuff.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Sure, distractions.
Yeah.
A lot of GCs have prohibited cell phones from anybody that's
Wow.
not supervisor level.
Wow.
Yeah, and because you'll have some people
I
listening
never would have
to
thought
music.
of that. Yeah. Distracted. Yeah.
Or, yeah. Or if it's there's an emergency and the tornado siren goes off or whatever. And,
Or somebody's yelling duck.
yeah, and you can't hear it because you've got your AirPods in.
Wow.
That's such a sad thing, because the AirPods probably bring a joy to their life a little
Sure.
bit, and it's not like they're doing anything joyful at that moment. They're
Especially
working
if it's
to tell 'em.
monotonous work. And
Yeah.
it just helps you get through the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You almost wonder if they could bring like a radio and turn it to a certain volume or something. Is that against? I guess it's against safety protocol, or
Some GCs will allow it, and others won't.
yeah. Well, makes sense. I mean, that's I never would have. I don't think I would have gotten that. Like, that's just one of those things. So I know you're very involved with ABC Carolina. That's how we met you to begin with. I want to talk a little bit about resources. So what types of resources do you pull from in order to maintain the highest level of safety standards and things like that? Is there a place that you can look stuff up, or what types of things do you do on a day-to-day basis to make sure you're up to code, so to speak?
Me personally, I'm such a relational person. I hated through COVID and nobody was meeting in person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That drove me nuts.
Yeah, we paused this for an entire year because we weren't doing it. We weren't doing it.
Yeah.
We were
Two
in
years.
person only.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I have a question, I'll just pick up the phone and
Oh,
call
okay.
somebody.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives me an excuse to catch up with them as
Sure.
well and see how they're, hey, how you doing? And hey, by the way, I know you work for a scaffolding contractor. I have this weird question, and so that's my biggest resource.
Yeah.
And through the 25 years, I've been so blessed to meet so many wonderful people. So that's my biggest. But there's always the website, OSHA website, or
Sure.
you can. I'm still old school. I have the book
Oh wow.
on my shelf, so
Yeah.
I'll pull it off, and it's the Bible, if you will.
Or your
and,
handy
and
dandy
I'll highlight it.
Granger rep.
Or and reps are a big help, and some of these larger reps have safety professionals that work for them. and will go around and do training, and they are definitely a resource.
They probably know almost the most about safety. Probably not down to the niche level, but I bet they just know a little bit of everything.
Well, but they
Probably
have
code.
niches as well. Like fall protection. might
Oh, they
be
niche
one.
they niche at Granger.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Well, I mean, I don't deal with Granger too much, but
Okay.
but they would have access to manufacturers reps. And one of the person that I deal with mostly is my rep. I get a lot of stuff from, but he has such a huge resource of people where if I call him and he doesn't know, he can give somebody a call. But because of his relationships, now I've got relationships with, who we get our helmets from or our fall protection rep where I can just call them directly. So for me, it's a people thing.
Yeah. That's really neat. It's I feel like the more dissociated the world gets, you can still see the benefit of maintaining relationships with people and doing things. Of course, Eric Powell through email and stuff. He's a good friend of ours, but he preaches on that. He'll be the first to tell you he hires people that are smarter than him. He hires, and by his own admission, by the way. Although that's probably not a very just kidding, Eric. But he attempts to hire people that are better than him at what they do, and then he just wants to build relationships and connect people. And let me tell you, he's a master at it. I mean,
That's
truthfully. So it's
Well,
really
and
cool
such
to
the
see.
sign of a successful business person is like you said, hiring people who are smarter than you,
Yeah.
and they just make you look good.
Right. Pridefully so. Well, so what else with safety? Where do you see it going? Like, do you see any deep gaps and holes of job sites that
Are you robots enforcing job sites
or
safety?
I
I haven't seen that.
like
you have like
Back off.
Yeah. Have y'all seen the robot dogs that they have?
oh yeah.
Yes.
I saw they freak me out because they look creepy.
They do.
Yeah, but I saw where in Texas the ICE the immigrant enforcement. Yeah. They are using those dogs to breach houses and stuff.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I mean, obviously I'm a U.S. citizen, but if I had a robot dog break into my house, I think I'd have a panic attack.
Well, and like you said, they in one sense they're very futuristic looking.
Yeah.
But then they're so realistic too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was at the ABC National show in Florida last year, and that's the first place I saw it. And
Yeah.
they were doing all kinds of demos with it, and all I could do was just sit there with my mouth open. It was just amazing, and I
Yeah.
took several videos so I could bring back and show people. It's like, you got to check this out.
And on
Yeah.
video, it looks fake. 'Cause
It
it's so
does,
It's
clean.
yeah.
crazy.
Look,
Yeah.
when y'all get time, look up the humanoid acrobatic robot. They've been
I've seen
training
it.
this
I've
thing
seen
for
it.
20 years.
Yep.
And it's when it first started, it was like losing balance.
Right.
Now it can do backflips, cartwheels. It can fall off a box,
Yeah.
catch itself, get back on the box.
They have it doing like calisthenic
It
workouts
sh-
where
it
they're
shoots.
jumping from thing to the other thing, and then they'll smack it with a baseball bat, and it'll take the blow and still keep going. And
So
stuff.
there was a commercial of it the other day where basically a Tesla minivan or whatever they want to call those things these days. It was like a minivan, and basically they pull up and the robots get out and it runs up and they grab a gun, they shoot at a fire range, they put the gun down, they slide over here, help a dog cross the street. And
This is the Terminator. This is literally we're living the plot of the Terminator. I do not like it at all.
yeah,
So,
I was amazed.
yeah. Little super off topic, but for Christmas I got my mom my mom loves figurines and dolls and things like that, and I just found this thing, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen to me. It's a bobblehead of Donald Trump, but he's dressed up as the Terminator, and so it's called the Trumpinator. And my mom opens it, Race, what the hell is this? And I was like, and so then I did my Arnold voice and my Trump voice, and so I was like, Kim, come with me if you want to live. You must vote for me in 2024. And then it's like, yeah, Kim, it's gonna be huge, Kim. I was doing that all Christmas. Anyways, super off topic, but so have you seen any robots and things like that on job sites for safety purposes, or?
I haven't.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I've even seen some of those. The automated excavators and stuff. They've been you probably don't do any stuff like that. So there was
We don't do any excavation.
there was a dam that they had to, how if you poke a hole in a dam, it's crazy water pressure coming out the other end. So they used to do it with real excavators and dynamite and explosives or whatever they could get in there. And they were like, oh, this is like a $40 million job. It's so dangerous. So they literally buy this $2 million excavator that's automatic. Somebody's controlling it.
Oh, wow.
It goes up and it starts poking a hole in it and destroys the $2 million excavator instantly.
Jesus.
But it does the job, and then they get their paycheck and roll. And they started doing that, and Husqvarna makes them.
Okay.
You look that up. They make a whole line of robotic demolition equipment,
That's cool.
Wow.
which makes sense because you're taking a building down while you're in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
It'd be nice not to be your head.
Yeah.
Somebody told me a story about they would do walkthroughs of big buildings with like robots and stuff so that they would see if it.
I know the virtual thing has become a big,
Yeah.
that way, especially when people were working remotely.
Yeah.
I could sit in front of my computer, and we don't have this, but I know that technology's out there, and the supervisor could walk around on the job site, and you're seeing everything that he's seeing through that.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Have you ever seen Big Bang Theory, the TV show?
My son is a huge fan of it.
Yeah. There's a episode where one of the characters is like a germaphobe, and they basically have like this is before COVID too. It's interesting that it happened, but it was like it looked like a coat rack, okay, and it was on like little tank wheels, and they put an iPad on the top, and the character's name is Sheldon, and he would just walk around and he'd be like I'm the Sheldon bot or whatever. But I mean, I immediately thought even back then that's something that could take place eventually, and I mean it might even be, I don't want to say better, but I mean it'd be less risky, like because you're losing a $2,000 robot versus a human if something should happen.
Yeah.
But
God, everybody be so unhealthy.
oh yeah, I know, just just
Sitting at home, turning into Jello.
Yeah, it'd be like the plot of the movie.
I'm already so sedentary, man. Don't give me a reason to not go to the grocery store.
Yeah,
Send my little Christian bot.
yeah, little
Hey man,
Christian
need
bot.
some ham.
Christian bot needs some bananas.
Make sure to stumble by the dessert area for me.
Oh man, it'll be interesting to see what happens with everything. But so ABC Carolinas, let's leave off on this note. So you just won. What was the award you won? Is safety amazing person of the year type of thing?
I think that's the official name of it. Yes.
Safety superhero.
Safety superhero. Yep. So we need to get you a cape of some sort. That'd be cool.
Oh, we should have got him an S cape.
So kind of there again, off topic. How is this? My brother-in-law's wife, so my sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually my wife's brother. His sister-in-law, so not related to me, but anyway, we know them very well. He is a cartoonist.
Oh, wow.
And several years ago, my wife had him do, and it's somewhat my picture.
Yeah.
And he's got the superhero cape.
That's awesome.
And it's like
So-
safety man.
And it is. And it's
You
in
need to send
my,
that to
it's
us.
in my
Epic.
office.
You need to
So,
send that to us, a
yeah.
picture of it. We'll put that as your thumbnail for the show.
You should put it as a signature in your email.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's true. I should.
That would be
That's awesome.
that'd be a great conversation starter
That
for sure.
would.
That's oh my goodness.
Branding 101. I'll send you an invoice.
There you go. There you go. See, sharing genius, one step at a time. Well, I believe that's all the time we have for today, Jason. We always like to leave off with a funny comment or thing like this. But so to give our listeners a little bit of backstory, before the show, we were talking about how within refrigeration you have all these different interesting rooms that you would never know if you weren't in the industry. And so you told us about there's a room in some grocery stores that are specifically for bananas, and they call it the banana room.
Yes.
It's bananas in there. So what would you say is the strangest type of room or biggest surprise that you've had to build within Republic Refrigeration?
You probably just took his best one.
Yeah, that
Second
might
best one, then.
be-
The banana room.
That like I told you earlier, is that when they told me that, I thought the guys were pulling my leg.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, right, sure, the banana room.
The banana
They were
room.
like, no, really, right? It's right over there.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm really bummed you didn't go in there and look into the banana room, just
I'm gonna
sort of
have to
like
make.
a trip.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm
Put it
gonna
on
take
FaceTime.
pictures
Just a
and I'm
banana room.
gonna send it to you.
You should.
So,
You should.
yeah.
It's just in there, and there's a bunch of gorillas running around. That'd be awesome. So, any others that you can think of? The strange rooms?
No, that's probably the most uniquest.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good enough for me. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for today, and
Well, thank you.
let's have a good lunch.
Sounds awesome.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
Food.